Hello, sisters and brothers. Our devotional for today, for July 6th, is a reflection on My Utmost for His Highest, a series of devotionals written and compiled by Oswald Chambers. You can always find the link for the daily devotional at utmost.org. And for today's devotional, we're going to turn to Isaiah chapter 35. I'll read verses 5 through 7 of that chapter. Then the eyes of the blind be opened. Then will the eyes of the blind be opened, and the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then will the lame leap like a deer, and the mute tongue shout for joy. Water will gush forth in the wilderness and streams in the desert. The burning sand will become a pool, the thirsty ground bubbling springs. In the haunts where jackals once lay, grass and reeds and papyrus will grow. And Chambers titles this devotional Visions Becoming Reality. We always have a vision of something before it actually becomes real to us. When we realize that the vision is real, but is not yet real in us, Satan comes to us with his temptations, and we are inclined to say that there is no point in even trying to continue. Instead of the vision becoming real to us, we have entered into a valley of humiliation. Life is not as idle ore, but iron dug from central gloom, and battered by the shocks of doom, to shape and use. God gives us a vision, and then he takes us down to the valley to batter us into the shape of that vision. It is in the valley that so many of us give up and faint. Every God-given vision will become real if we will only have patience. Just think of the enormous amount of free time God has. He is never in a hurry. Never in a hurry. Yet we are always in such a frantic hurry. While still in the light of the glory of the vision, we go right out to do things, but the vision is not yet real in us. God has to take us into the valley and put us through fires and floods to batter us into shape until we get to the point where he can trust us with the reality of the vision. Ever since God gave us the vision, he has been at work. He is getting us into the shape of the goal he has for us, and yet, over and over again, we try to escape from the sculptor's hand in an effort to batter ourselves into the shape of our own goal. The vision that God gives is not some unattainable castle in the sky, but a vision of what God wants you to be down here. Allow the potter to put you on his wheel and whirl you around as he desires. Then, as surely as God is God, and you are you, you will turn out as an exact likeness of the vision. But don't lose heart in the process. If you have ever had a vision from God, you may try as you will to be satisfied on a lower level, but God will never allow it. So let's take that and consider it for just a moment here. Having a vision from God and the time that it takes in order for that to come to pass, we have to allow God's timing to be our timing. There are a number of times where we may have had a vision, had a sense of what God is calling us to do, and wanted to jump right out and do it, hoping that our faithfulness and our willingness to God's plan would bring the vision to reality in just a very short matter of time. But what Chambers is pointing out here, and as we read through the verses in Isaiah, this vision that God gives us, it needs to be tested. It needs to be tested against what we will experience. And some of the ways that we're going to be tested are going to be very difficult. That's how anything is truly shaped. Anything that is worth having that goes through this process of refinement. And think of it this way. If a company were to allow a particular person to endorse them, let's say it's a very large company and they want to use this person to endorse their product, well, they would want to do a thorough background check, and they would want to see a long pattern of consistency in that person before they trust them with their brand. Well, this is something much greater than even that, a vision from God. And he needs to know and be assured that we are ready to be able to handle the vision that he has given us, so that it can become reality as part of God's kingdom, part of God's plan. So if you've found that you had a vision from God, don't be discouraged or in despair if it hasn't happened yet. but instead be willing to be molded and shaped according to God's will and plan, so that that vision can become a reality. Thank you as always for listening. Be safe and stay well.